Thanks, Om. Happy morning.
Happy morning.
I have a friend who only that friend has the ability to be very naughty with me. So yesterday when we came to check the mic here, he said, चलो जो खड़े हो जाओ, आपको start करना है, हाथ इधर रखो और बात करना चालू करो. So he's observed me so much that he knows my starting position is like this. So I'm going to surprise him a little with the sessions to come. And I'm also a little famous for the celebrations that we do from stage. So to all of you all, starting from today till we reach the 7th session, one by one I'm going to make you come out of your shells to celebrate. And in the last session, my promise to all of us, those people who cheer in the stadiums ना, क्रिकेट मैच के लिए आईपीएल में बोलेंगे आईपीएल का छोड़ दो केएमएम का यहाँ पे आके सेलिब्रेशन कर देखो. व्हाट डू यू से? When we invite Nareen in a few minutes to take over the session, we would have done this clap in school. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. किया होगा ना सबने? Yes?
Yes.
Are you all awake?
Yes.
So when I say 3, 2, 1, go, at least 5 rounds of it, till he has to say, ठीक है, चलेगा? Promise?
Yes.
Certain times if I have to define myself, I say I'm a stupidly, crazily nostalgic about love. This word really, you know, वो जैसे रहता है ना पिक्चरों में हवा बहने लगती है, बाल उड़ने लगते हैं. So love word सुन के मेरे उसमें ऐसा होने लगता है. And there was a gentleman called Leo Buscaglia who has written this beautiful book on love called Love, and he used to take sessions on love. So he has quoted a few words which I think aptly describes what we do at KMM. He says, too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring which has the power to turn around a life. I think he so brilliantly described what we do at KMM. And we have stories that we have heard on the 12th. And when I read this quote last evening, one of the examples that have happened in KMM a few years back came right alive in front of my eyes. We have a life schooler called Dheeraj Pipada. He used to go to a corporation school, and we had this session about what are your dreams. And he had a child putting his hand up and saying, I want to be a gangster. And then, the way Dheeraj took these 7 sessions, the last session, this guy turns around and says, I'm going to create my life and I'm going to make you proud. I no more want to be a gangster. So congratulations. We are here, a part of a movement which gives us a lot of power. In Spider-Man, have you all watched Spider-Man?
Yes.
We know Spider-Man?
Yes.
These are attempts to know you all are right awake at 7 in the morning. So in Spider-Man, there is a very famous statement which all of you all would know. With power comes responsibility. But I would say in Keep Moving movement, with power comes love, with power comes friendship, with power comes fun, with power comes an act of fulfillment, and with power comes these beautiful Sunday mornings which we are all together with. A warm welcome again. Congratulations to all of you. Looking forward to a great year ahead. Seeing the selfies that are coming on the WhatsApp group, this year I think we're going to have a lot of interesting activities that are going to go on in the group. Last night, the last message that I saw was at 1:30. So this year, KMM volunteers are going to ensure I'm going to be awake in the nights as well. So wishing you a great time today, and in the days to come, you will get your details from your area coordinators. Mind you, all these area coordinators are brilliantly unique. We had just posted on the group, have one word that describes you as the title of the group. To our pleasant surprise, all 30 had different 30 adjectives. Not one was repeated. What do you call that for uniqueness in KMM? So a big round for all our area coordinators. They are fantastic people. They are lovely human beings, and may all of you get the best out of them. Moving ahead, with our claps when I say 3, 2, 1. Please let's invite Naren for the session. यहाँ से यहाँ आएंगे. 3, 2, 1, go.
This year we are attempting to create the sessions a little differently so that the work of the area coordinators is a little less, but the fun that the area coordinator has, the impact that the area coordinator has on the life of people should be deeper and larger. Some ACs, when we told them that you have about 25 in your group or 28 in your group, were a little taken aback, unsure about how they are going to manage this number of people. But we have created a very simple structure by which we will ensure that with the same kind of time that you dedicate every year, we should be able to get the best of KMM this year too. So I'm not going to speak too much about why KMM and what KMM does, because the fact that you are here, the fact that you registered, the fact that you want to be a part of this movement tells me that you already know about what KMM is and what it stands for. But I'll speak for a few minutes on what is required for us to ensure that the opportunity that we have is used at its best. There is this one word which I believe is very crucial for success in any aspect of life. Certain stories and certain characters have defined this word brilliantly well. How many of you here are interested in cricket? You follow cricket regularly? So many of us. 2002, Antigua, West Indies. Anil Kumble was batting, and with the bouncer, he broke his jaw. They bandaged it up, and the flight was not supposed to leave at least for the next 24 hours. As he was sitting in the player's balcony, watching the game unfold, he appealed to his captain that please allow me to play. The sight of Anil Kumble with a bandaged jaw coming out to play is one of the most inspiring sights in the history of cricket. When a person is bandaged, nobody is expecting them to come and play. When somebody has a slight pull, we expect them to rest. But here is Kumble with a bandaged jaw coming out to play. And he bowled almost 14 overs uninterrupted with a bandaged jaw. And in that bowling, he also took the wicket of Brian Lara. So Viv Richards, one of the most flamboyant cricketers ever born, writes in his autobiography that the most committed sight I have ever seen in the field of cricket is Anil Kumble coming out to bowl in spite of a broken jaw. And when Anil Kumble was asked, why did you do that? He said, what's the point in sitting in the stadium and twiddling my thumb? So anyway I was sitting, I thought I can come and play also. Now that is commitment. Tahir Bhai did batch 4 of life school. And his son, Ibu, did it immediately thereafter. I remember one year, when he was going to take a session, he was on a bike and the heavens opened up. He got completely drenched. Now there is a rule in KMM that all speakers inside the classroom must reach their schools at least 20 minutes before schedule. For Ibu, the scene was such, he could have gone back home, changed, and still reached the school a few minutes before time. Or he would respect the rules, go to the school completely drenched, take the session absolutely drenched. Having taken the session, then go back home and change and carry on with the work for the day. What do you think he would choose? Obviously, if I am speaking about him, it means Ibu went to the school completely drenched, and the school authorities were telling him, we will give you a surplus shirt, an extra shirt, please change. He said, it's absolutely okay, I'm enjoying the way I am, and I'm thinking about if this kind of a commitment I can have to my work, to my life, what can stop me from progressing? He took the session, came to office, showed me this is how I went, my mind didn't work, did I do the right thing or the wrong thing? One of those memories which I'll carry forever about Keep Moving movement. This work happens because of commitment. Because our work is people, when we interact with people, in so many cases we find brilliant talent, gifted people, super resources, very well networked, having an extraordinary launch pad, having a brilliant backup support, but commitment is missing. As a result of which, somebody who could have been a star struggles to rise up from the ground. As you take part of Keep Moving movement, there will be times when there will be certain distractions. There will be times when there are certain other, maybe urgent things. Now that will be a test. Because what we are looking for and what will help you in life is what is the quantity of commitment that you can show towards the project. Last 16 years, we have been very committed. We didn't take a single leave. We have never been absent in a session saying there is a marriage, or I have to go for a pilgrimage, or I have loose motions, or for that matter, lose emotions. Where something has happened and I am not composed, hence I think I will not be able to pay attention. Neither it has ever been that there is a financial possibility of a gain, there is a business transaction, hence I will have to go there. Invariably we found, even if there are certain distractions like this, people who have explained to the other party that this is what I am doing, this is where my time is required, is it okay if we meet a day after or a day before? Every time people have cooperated. And just to make you understand, this year there will be more than 250 classrooms. We'll be going to more than 80 schools. We'll be covering about 10 cities in our country. There will be about 500 plus volunteers in Pune and about 100 more volunteers in the different centers. And we take preferences from all. Let's say, for example, Bharti writes in the form that I can take a session between 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Otherwise, it is not possible for me because I have so and so things which requires my time. For some reason, if Bharti one day says that I cannot go to the school for the 8:45 session, for us to identify somebody else to go, because if we have committed to the schools, the sessions will certainly be taken. And for us to identify somebody who can go at that time, and for somebody to be very close to that school so that it's not highly inconvenient for them, is a humongous balancing task. We are right at the beginning. And almost every year we find about 15 to 20% people, somewhere after the 4th and the 5th session, starting to lose that sense of intense commitment which is required. When you go to the class, the children start getting connected to you. They develop a comfort with you. Most importantly, they start trusting you. Like we discussed in the orientation program, a recent survey shows while children may admire a Mark Zuckerberg, but they are not inspired by Mark Zuckerberg. They are more inspired by people to whom they have access. Now you are that person to whom they will have access. So just when they have started to trust you, just when you have become their inspiration, just when, because of the way you communicate brilliantly, people have developed a desire to be like you. And for some reason, if you're not there in the class that day, their ability to trust people gets a little shaken. Their ability to get close to people gets a few question marks. And while if you had continued for 7 sessions, it would have been a very complete experience for all. For both you and for them, it will become kind of an incomplete experience. Where knowingly or unknowingly in your mind you will ask this question, could I have done a little better? Could I still have gone to the school? Was that meeting or that trip so important? Couldn't I have managed? This test, all of us who pass, the most beautiful thing happens, we grow in our own eyes. While validation is important, approval is supremely important, but there is nothing in the world like growing up in our own eyes. So use this keep moving movement, one, to create a beautiful impact in the lives of people, and two, as a reason for you to grow in your own eyes. This is the background. Because last night, while Joe was up till 1:30, I had a message at 4 o'clock. I will not be able to come for the morning session because of this reason and that reason. Is it okay? So I told them, it is not okay, because weakness, the law of life is, will always be exploited. Whatever you do, do with strength, and do nothing in life out of weakness. With this as the background, let's move to session number 1. The first challenge when you go inside the classroom will be how to develop a rapport with the kids. Now these kids inside the classroom will look at you the way you look at certain animals when you go to the zoo. Chances are the school authorities haven't told them what the session is about. Chances are they have no idea why you are there. Chances are they have been told just 2 minutes ago that somebody will come and talk to you. Chances are they're looking forward to a free period and there you walk in. Chances are they have decided to go to the last row and eat their tiffin, the way some of you have done in your school always. Chances are they are just not interested in listening to an adult. Chances are the class is not very welcoming. They don't want another teacher. And they certainly don't want somebody to come and tell them, ये तुम्हारा 10th है, बहुत ध्यान से पढ़ाई करना. This is the base of your entire future. This they have been told for the last 3 years now. And they are tired of listening to this. So first session, we don't even talk about studies at all. In fact, you will go inside the classroom and you will ask 4 very innocent questions in the beginning. questions which makes the children look at you as if you are an interesting specimen. Questions like, who is the naughtiest in this classroom? You're not talking about studies. You're asking questions like a friend. You're not being a teacher. You are reaching out to them as a friend. You're not there to lecture. You're just there to connect as a friend. So you ask them this question, who's the naughtiest in the class? Invariably, they'll point out to somebody. Then you ask them question like, who's the most filmy? Almost in every class, there are a few film buffs. And they do all the mannerisms of the screen artists. You can ask them questions like, who's the most studious? Chances are very high they are sitting in the front row itself. The studious ones are not sitting somewhere behind. You can ask them question like, who is the comedian of the class? So here Agarwal suggested this question, how about asking the class, who is the comedian? Invariably in every class there are some children who through their antics, intentionally or unintentionally, make everybody laugh. Now if I ask you this question, in the fraternity of life school, whom do you think this award will go to? Who is that person who, the moment they start speaking, we start laughing?
Harsha.
Oh, I didn't know that. Her name itself is Harsha. So if she makes people happy, it's not a surprise. Some of you said Gurmail Singh? Gurmail, welcome back. Gurmail was on the bed, now he's back. How about Sanjay Shirke?
Yes.
How many of you agree to Sanjay Shirke? Okay, good show of hands. And how about Nipun? See, I said the name and you are laughing. Is there any TV actor, the moment they come on stage or on screen, you start laughing?
Johnny Lever.
Kapil Sharma. Okay, Kapil Sharma, Johnny Lever. So like this, you interact with the children for a few minutes. And who is the comedian of the class? Then the kids in the class realize, this is not a normal class. This is not a lecture. This is not about a subject. So you ask them questions like this. Besides the children, what happens to you is, you become comfortable. Once you have asked these questions and they have answered, then you start feeling this is your place. Now you're not feeling out of place. Because when you came in, and the way some of them looked at you, you might actually check everything is okay or not. Once a few children inside the classroom have laughed, that's the beauty about laughter. When people laugh together, they are not strangers anymore. There is a bond of friendship which develops through laughter. And then, in one sentence you will say your name, and in 3 to maximum 4 sentences you will speak about what are you doing there? What is keep moving movement all about? In less than 4 sentences, minimum 3, maximum 4 sentences. Now this will be the opening of the session. The next point will be a crucial point because it will build up the session. Now in public speaking training we have understood, if you want the audience to move with you, within the first 1 minute, you must be able to ask them a few questions to which they give the answer yes. So you ask them, is the name of your school, let's say Bishop's Co-ed School? Please get the name right. So you don't go and ask in the school, is the school Bishop's Co-ed? You go and ask the name of the school. And then you ask them, is this class 10A or 10B or 10E, whatever is the class? They answer yes. And then you actually start the session. What is this session all about? When we look at people, we realize even the most accomplished people sometimes have doubts whether they are good enough or not. And all the things that we talk about life either needs an intense sense of curiosity for us to implement, or it needs self-belief for it to be implemented. The first session will attempt to implement this thing called self-belief. You still want to develop a good rapport with the class. So you will say, how many of you like to play games? How many of you like to play games? Okay, most of you. So let's play a game. And you ask them, how many of you have played dumb charades? I don't know what you would call it in Marathi that you translate. But how many here have played dumb charades? So many of us. So let's do a simple dumb charade. Now the key over here is, we're doing certain actions which we believe everybody in the class will be able to answer. We don't want to isolate people thinking this is the smart and intelligent bunch and these are the people who don't get it right. So what we do is we simply say, I am going to make certain actions of playing certain musical instruments and see if you can identify which is that musical instrument. So when you do this, and if you do this, and if you do this, and if you do this, and you ask them, whom do I admire in you, these different instruments? This will be a little difficult. So there are two brothers, Ganesh and Kumaresh down south, who play the violin beautifully well. How about drums? Anybody? Shivamani is there, fair enough. How about the flute? And now we tell them, the way each musician chooses different musical instruments for them to perform, different people choose different fields for them to perform and excel in life. Some people will have a brilliant future through education. Friends, unfortunately, the reality of our country is, if you are a fantastic student, you are respected. You are awarded, you are rewarded, you are spoken about. Those who are not great or exceptional students, they are looked at as if something is wrong with them, or they are branded as just not good enough. We stay in a society where we worship heroes and we take them to a very high pedestal, and everybody else is kind of taken for granted. As a result of which, most of us have grown up thinking that we are inadequate, and if we can survive, it is more than enough. The proof is, that is why we do not have challenging goals in our life. We set goals which we know can be easily done. Research shows less than 5% people in the entire life set goals which has the power to change their life. To me, a great goal is a goal which has the power to change your life. If I achieve a goal and my life remains the same, then it is not an exceptional goal. If I achieve a goal and something about my life changes for the better, then it's a fantastic goal. Let's say there is a car race between two young people who have a bike and now move to the car for the first time in their lives. And they want to show who can drive faster. And they're riding on the road crazy, wanting to prove who will win. Even if one of them wins, it's not going to change their life in any way. In fact, they might have lost their life or damaged themselves in a very big way. So a fantastic goal, a mature goal, is a goal which has the power to change your life. And if less than 5% people in the world dare to set such goals, it also reveals to us that less than 5% people in the world believe that they should do something which can change their life. 95% people want to play safe because they don't believe that they can achieve something significant in their life. Right now, if I take a pause over here and ask all of you, right now in your life, what are the goals that we have which has the power to change our life completely? It might be a little difficult question to answer. Yet today a balance sheet might be, let's say, net 1 crore and you want to make it 5 crores. My question will be, how will that change your life? And if the kids don't have powerful goals, the future of this country will always remain bleak. We don't want to create people who are looking for just a life where they earn enough money and survive. We are looking at creating people who can create revolutions. Swami Vivekananda said this more than 120 years ago, that give me 100 committed youth and I'll change the entire country. And I believe that statement remains true even today. And we are looking at committing and creating such people, where they must be energized, their self-belief must be rock solid. And self-belief is not about success. Self-belief is about, I'm going to give my 100% plus. And if things don't work out, I'm going to learn and again give my 100% plus. Now that is self-belief. Self-belief is not my ability to do things. It is my ability to commit myself completely and learn when results don't come. In this session, we are not talking about goals to the children. In this session, we are talking to them about self-belief. Next session, we'll take something else, and the third session might be on goal setting. So with this example, that different musicians choose different instruments to express themselves, you tell the children. Similarly, different people inside the classroom will choose a different path to excel. Education is one such path. There will be about 20 to 25% people inside the classroom whose future is through studies. Understand what we want to achieve in this session. These 20-25% people will get good marks, they will get admitted into good institutes. I'm not even saying best institutes, but good institutes. And from there, they will take off in their life. I'm speaking about the other 80% inside the classroom. These 20% people will have support, they will have appreciation, they will have doors which opens for them through education. I'm speaking about the other 80%. So you tell the class, some of you will have a future through studies. For some of you, the future will not be through studies, but your future will be something else where you are completely committed. Maybe inside the classroom there is a Saina Nehwal whose future lies in badminton. Maybe inside the classroom there is a Sachin Tendulkar whose future is in cricket. Maybe inside the classroom there is a Sonu Nigam whose future is through singing. Maybe inside the classroom there is somebody like Mother Teresa whose future is through social service. Now here comes a very important moment inside the classroom. When you look at everybody eye to eye, and in your eyes, the belief that you carry in your heart must be visible. And this is the most crucial work for any teacher. Do you actually believe that these children will grow up to become somebody significant? Because if you don't believe in it, then you cannot communicate that belief. So you're not going to the class just to do public speaking. You're going to the class to transfer the belief that you have in your heart and mind about the kids, which will project them, propel them into the future. So you look at them and tell. A teacher was once asked, "Why do you teach?" And the teacher said, "Where else will I find such a brilliant collection of honest politicians?" Yeah, something like that might exist. Very good bureaucrats, fantastic professionals, dynamic ethical businessmen, all of them in the same place. And that is how we look at the class. That here is a bunch of people who are supremely capable. When you say that, some people will believe and some will still not do it. So I'm telling all of you, I believe that each one of us is a miracle which is waiting to unfold. All that we need is intense commitment and a willingness to improve. These two is more than enough. Intense commitment and a willingness to improve. And you will live a fantastic life. Now some of you will believe in what I'm saying. How many of you believe in what I'm saying? Fantastic. And there will be some who won't. In the class, you won't see so many hands. In the class, you might find about 20-25% children raising their hands. And then we take them through a series of activities. First, you ask all of them to look around and find out how many items are there on the walls which are blue in color. So can you just have a look in less than 30 seconds? How many items on the walls over here which are blue in color? Okay. Now my question to you is, how many doors do we have to this hall? Now why are you looking around? It's a very small exercise, but a brilliant exercise. When you looked around to find out how many blue objects are there, your eyes did see the doors also. Now here comes a human limitation. We choose our own reality. It is not what is real, but we choose our own reality. We choose what we want to believe in. A Vivekananda can travel to America with the belief that the Western world needs to listen to the scriptures of India. And some people may not travel in for 100 meters having a doubt koi meri sunega kya. You create your own belief. I am not good looking, hence I will not be accepted as a part of a friend group. I am a housewife, so I can't do enough. I am not very educated, so I feel very uncomfortable in people speaking to people who are educated. I don't come from a business family, so I don't think I can do business well. My earlier 2 partnerships failed, hence I think partnership is not right for me. I can't do public speaking. That's why there are some of my friends who every year become a partner and they don't become speakers. I don't think I can drop weight. And the background support is, no, my body is like that. I don't think I can come first in class. I don't think I can excel. I don't think I'm made for big things. And in some cases, when there is a tiff in a relationship, I don't think it can ever be solved. We recently went for this program called Leadership in Action. And 4 people there asked me this question: why do we believe that we can't become leaders? We choose what we want to believe in. The fact is, no power in the world has ever been able to define human potential. No power in the world has ever been able to define human potential. If you work in an organization of, let's say, 5,000 people, and you ask your colleagues, how many of you think you can become the MD of this company or the CEO of this company? Watch how many of them say yes, and what makes them think that they can't? We limit ourselves based on our beliefs because we choose our own reality. While the eye sees everything, I chose to only focus on the blue. While there are enough proof that I am great, I choose to focus on why I am very ordinary. And that makes me a very, very limited person. Now you speak in the classroom about the great basketball player called Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a part of a family where there were 4 children. And Michael Jordan's father could never earn enough to support the family properly. At the age of 13, Michael Jordan's father came to Michael Jordan and said, why is it that you don't look very happy? And he said, we don't have enough. But without this, we can be happy. He said, no, we can't. Because when I look at other friends' lives, they have surplus, they have abundance. And we are not good. We don't get enough to eat, we don't have new things to wear, we don't have good shoes. And hence, I think, we won't be able to accomplish too much in life. And hence, I think, I can't be happy. Because when I look at others, I think they're doing so well. And I believe I can't. Because hai nahi mere paas mein. After a few days, Michael Jordan's father came to Michael and said, here is this piece of cloth. What do you think is its value? Michael Jordan said about $1. And the father told him, can you sell it for $2? You know, you will really help your family if you can do that. And he played the family card. Michael had a doubt in his eyes and said, if you say I will give it a shot, but I am not sure I can do this. I've never sold. Said, why don't you give it a shot? Remember, if you can sell it for $2, you will really help your family quite a lot. 13 years old, he went to the subway station, and there, the t-shirt that he had, he started saying $2, $2, $2, $2. After 6 hours of effort, he sold that t-shirt for $2, and he came back. When he came back home, he was super excited. I did it. Father said, can you do it for 7 days? Now this guy says, I want to give it a shot. Now, in a few hours, this guy has suddenly become super excited. Same life, same quantity of food, same parents, same resources. But now he's excited. 7 days, every day, he sold a t-shirt for $2. On the 8th day, his father said, today I'm giving you a t-shirt. Can you sell it for $20? Michael told his father, are you mad? $2 is a struggle. How will I sell it for $20? Father said, just give it a shot. If it doesn't happen, it's okay. But remember, if you can do that, it will be a big help to your family. He had no idea how to sell something which is $1 for $20. Went to a friend who was an artist and said, can you paint a Mickey Mouse on this? I will give you $1 for that painting, if I can sell this t-shirt. With the Mickey Mouse painted, he took the t-shirt outside a school and he started saying, t-shirt with Mickey Mouse, $20, t-shirt with Mickey Mouse, $20. A driver who was waiting for his master to come, knowing that his master has a son who loves Mickey Mouse, purchased the t-shirt for $20. That night when he came home, the excitement of Michael Jordan knew no bounds. Absolutely no bounds. After about a month, his father told him, can you sell this one t-shirt for $200? This time, Michael Jordan did not have hesitation. He did not have doubts. He started thinking, if I have to sell this for 200, what is required? What will make it possible? The earlier version of Charlie's Angels had just been released. Farrah Fawcett was the lead actress in that. And there was a huge craze in America about Farrah Fawcett. He came to know she was coming to a neighboring town, traveled over there, and as she was moving out, he rushed to her and said, I'm a big fan. Can you autograph on this t-shirt for me? And then he said, after taking that autograph, a t-shirt of Farah available for sale, $200, $200. 6-7 people approached him and he started on the spot bidding. You know, he sold that t-shirt for $1,200. After that, Michael Jordan never doubted himself and went on to become the most decorated player ever in the history of basketball. What did his father help him to achieve? Father's capability, resources, everything is the same. His father chose him to focus on a new reality. And the reality was, Michael, you are capable. Michael, you can live an excited life. Michael, if you can add value to wherever you are, you will get what you want out of life. Michael, you choose your reality. Michael Jordan understood this lesson so brilliantly well. He realized this is also a possibility and a reality that my family does not have enough and my father is not able to earn enough to provide as much as we need. At the same time, the reality also is I can earn a little more and contribute to the family. You choose your own reality. So when kids inside the classroom think, and for a few moments when you are over here thinking, and for some reason you believe, मेरे से नहीं होएगा, you are choosing that reality. And that's why you look around, people who have probably much less than us are doing much better than us. Because they have chosen their reality. They have chosen to believe with work, with smartness, with learning, there will be brilliant. And they can choose any support. They can say, आज मैं पूजा करके आया है, भगवान की कृपा है, इसके लिए मैं बहुत कर पाया. Somebody else can say, today I touched the feet of my grandmother, her blessings will ensure I will do well in life. And for a Michael Jordan, it can be, I could sell a t-shirt for $2. All of us can start believing in ourselves just by wanting to choose our own reality. If you look into your life, you will understand there are situations that you faced which was difficult, but you did it with elan. You did it beautifully. You did it smoothly. You look back at your life and there are enough things to prove that you are good. And you can also look at your life and find some areas where results did not come. We can look around in life and find there are enough people who love us. At the same time, we can also identify a few people who don't like us for different reasons. On what do we need to focus will make all the difference in life. A genius is a person who chooses a progressive reality. A genius is a person who does not give up at all. A genius is a person who is willing to look at alternatives and possibilities. What is this? Those of you who didn't answer, you have a small doubt. This is a kerchief. Now, what do you think it is made for? Now, there are no tricks, there are no traps. You can be honest with your answer. Wiping the face, right? This is why it was manufactured. But what else do you think it can be used for? Okay, you raise your hands, I identify you and you speak. Yes? To use as a bandage. Okay? Scarf. Okay?
You can clean your hands, dirty hands.
Clean dirty hands. Okay? Sometimes cover money and carry it. Okay, शादी में घोड़ी पे जो बैठते हैं वो खोला भरने के लिए ऐसा कुछ होता है क्या आपके यहाँ? The manufacturer would have never created for that. Grabbing a seat. That happens only in India. Do you know 70% missed calls in the world happens only in India? Not only are we a country of the maximum possible spoken languages, but also missed call language existing only in India. मैं तेरे को missed call देगा तू नीचे आ जा. I mean, the cell phone manufacturer would have never imagined somebody will use this for that. What else can this be used for? Last row. Make a ball and play. As long as it is your kerchief. For magic. Correct?
Covering the
For covering the head, especially people like you and me, when we go out in the heat. Booking a seat, that's what he said. So change in language. He said grabbing a seat in the bus. You said booking a seat in the bus.
To use in temples.
To use in
Temples.
temples. Okay, if I go to a gurudwara, I cover my head.
You can tie it on your baggage when you fly abroad so that you can identify on the conveyor belt when you have to take
Hell,
it.
oh, tie it along with the handle. Okay.
take down notes if you don't have anything.
Make a boat.
Take down notes if you don't have anything.
Notes.
Have you done that in school in exams? My good Lord. So the matter is, every time we can think of an alternative, understand it's the work of a genius. The bees make a beehive, and that is an engineering marvel. Because even today, science does not know how to recreate that beehive in the laboratory. Fantastic structure, absolutely micro thin walls, yet super strong. We don't know how to make it. But you know what? In millions of years, the beehive has not evolved, it's not changed, it's not improved. The fact that you can think about improvement or an alternative is a proof that you are a genius. A genius is a person who does not give up, who wants to solve. Has it ever happened that you wanted to play cricket and the regular ball is not there? And then what do? What are the alternate ways in which you have created a ball to play cricket with? Anybody? Handkerchief, okay. Rubber banded, okay.
We used to have some things falling from the tree. We used to break it and make it a hard ball.
Okay, something which fell from the tree, broke it and make it into hard ball. Aluminium foils. Oh, that's interesting. If you raise your hands, yeah.
We used to have these balloons. We used to make a ball out of the balloon and start covering and make a big ball, and then it becomes really hard.
With the balloon, make a ball. See, the fact that we are thinking about the solution and not giving up. I want to play, but the ball is not there. The fact that we can come up with so many ideas shows that every human being, each one of us over here, is a genius. Because we can think of alternatives. It's as simple as that. There was a time when you want to buy a house and you wait till you are 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. But something like EMI was created. And now people who are less than 30 years old are buying house. A stroke of genius, a new idea. Can we make the children inside the classroom believe that they are a genius? Volunteers, do you have pieces of newspaper? Everybody grab a small piece of the newspaper that's going to come. Some of you go right to the end of the hall. Some of you down the center. Some of you this side. Everybody take one sheet. Tannu, go right to the end. Take one sheet, and don't start reading. Newspaper received? Okay. Now, in less than 3 minutes, how can you add value to this piece of newspaper? Right now, nobody will buy it even for 10 paise. Do whatever you can. Like Michael Jordan. Now, what is the reality that you choose? Is it मेरे से नहीं होएगा? ये आर्ट एंड क्राफ्ट ना मेरे बस का बात नहीं है. यार ये सब ना मेरे को कभी अच्छा नहीं लगता है. मेरा भाई ज्यादा क्रिएटिव है. मेरे पड़ोसी को ना बहुत अच्छा चाहता है. Now this is also possible. The other way you can be a child and you say, okay, let me do what I want to do, matter of. Don't compare your work with anybody else. Okay, 1 minute over, 2 to go. I can see boats, I can see topis. I can also see that Chanajor Garamwala, Angli. I can see some aircrafts. I can see some fans. I can see some envelopes. And aircrafts, yes. MiG-21, Boeing 747. Have all of you got something done now? You know what this means? It just means something very simple. I can add value to whatever is given to me. It's as simple as that. Which means there is a value for me. Which means I am good, I am capable. Do you know how powerful this realization is? That I can choose my reality? Wherever I am, you know how powerful this realization is that I can add value? Even if I am given something which may not be purchased by anybody for 10 paise, I can increase its value to a rupee or a 2 or 3. Because somebody is making masks. Rose. Do you understand what we have just done? And we are going to do the same with children inside the classroom. A Mother Teresa was never rich as far as money is concerned, and the JRD was super rich. But they cannot be compared. Did they add value? If yes, then they are a genius. It's as simple as that. So you tell in the session, anybody who can add value is a genius. None of the animals, none of the birds can add value by a decision. They live to an instinct. And every human being can add value. Which is a sign of genius. All you need to do is add value to yourself also. While I can add value to this piece of paper, I can definitely add value to myself also. And you will move towards the conclusion of the sentence, the conclusion of the session, by sharing some extraordinary facts. That this is my conviction. If any human being has learned how to walk, it's a sign of being a genius. Because the eyes can see somebody walking, but the quantity of muscular coordination which is required is not given as per instruction. I can see something basic and do a very complicated work. Attempt to walk slow and just see how many muscles of the body is required just to walk. And you will be pleasantly surprised. If any human being has learned how to talk, it's a sign of genius. You are listening to a sound. You have no idea what movement of the throat, how your tongue should move, how you should breathe out. किसी ने नहीं सिखाया. You heard something through your ears and you are able to translate it into action. If this is not a proof of being a genius, what is? Every other creation can make noise, but they don't have languages. And how many languages we have? And at least people over here, all of you must be knowing at least 2 languages. Anybody here who does not know 2 languages? Some of you 3, some of you maybe 4, some of you maybe 5. No other creation knows 2 languages. And if you do, it's a sign of being a genius. In case you can make somebody smile, to me, you are a genius. me and my younger daughter have this game called the Golden Touch. And I very strongly recommend this game for each one of us here. What is this Golden Touch? Whenever we go out, whether it's to a restaurant or to meet somebody, if there is any human being we meet who is not so well to do in life, who maybe is struggling for survival, let's say the waiter in a hotel, let's say the liftman, let's say the doorman, the watchman. Our competition is who can make him smile first. So let's say this one favorite restaurant of ours is there, Ramakrishna. We go there, what can I say by which the waiter will smile? And if I can do that, we look at each other and the other person says, Golden Touch. Because when you make somebody smile, you are making them feel important. You are giving them dignity, you are giving them respect. You could do that, sign of genius. Tell the children inside the classroom to go through a challenge. But give them this as their homework. Their homework is, before they come back from this session to the next session, they should be able to make a few people experience their golden touch. It can be their teacher, it can be the watchman of their school, it can be the bus in which they come or the auto rickshaw in which they come to school. It can be a neighbor, it can be the maid in the house. It can be anybody who is sad. So it can be the old parents or the old grandparents. Can I make somebody smile? Do you think you can do that? Yes. So your homework also. Next 2 weeks, can we take this up as a mission? It won't require too much time out of you at all. Can we make people smile? People about whom probably we have not even taken cognizance. People whom we probably take for granted. People to whom we probably haven't given attention. Can we just make them smile? Do you think it can be done?
Yes.
And by this we have made the world a beautiful place. The temperature doesn't have to be controlled. The government doesn't have to be changed. Your shape and size does not go through alterations. Your ego also does not have to be sacrificed. Can I make somebody smile? Those of you who have issues with some people, relationship thoda tough chal raha hai. Can you spread your golden touch there? Mother-in-law? Maybe partners, maybe a tough competitor, maybe a customer who's not being fair to you. And just watch what happens to you when you can spread your golden touch. With an exercise as simple as a golden touch, I'm confident you will be able to make those children believe that they can add value. One is adding value to the newspaper. The other is adding value to somebody's life. So you'll give them some homeworks. Homework number 1, golden touch. Then you tell them, golden touch is a sign of genius. And if you want a few more signs of genius, here are they. Improvement. Any aspect of life, slight improvement. We don't want big improvements also. We can eat an elephant one bite at a time. Even if there is 1% improvement, it is a step in the right direction. The day I get confidence, I myself will make 1% into 5. So Michael Jordan's father first made him sell t-shirts only for $2. Even though his aim would have been $200. But 7 days, $2 can become $20, and then the dare to think, चलो कुछ करके 200 की कोशिश तो करते हैं. Now the mental block is not there anymore. So there is this brilliant thing about improvement. Even if I make a slight improvement, I start believing in myself a little more, and my courage also opens up. Make the children inside the classroom write down on a sheet of paper that they have, in which area of life would they like to improve just that little bit. Give them examples. So today if you wake up at 6:45, can you wake up at 6:40? 5 minutes early. Not half an hour, not 1 hour. 5 minutes. Today when you go back home and you change your clothes after half an hour, can you change your clothes a little earlier? Maybe 25 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Ask them, can you make small improvements? And remind that they've done, that they are creative enough, they can find a solution. Acha, how many of you in your school days went to the PT period without your shoes being polished and then used the chalk? So many. You never polished your shoes. Now isn't that creativity? Isn't that this condition of the shoe can be improved right now? The fact that you can do this means you are a genius. So we give them these homework. Homework number 1. What is homework number 1? Golden touch. Homework number 2, slight improvement. The important word over here is slight. You tell them slight and they don't see it as a threat. You tell them in the first session big improvement and they don't like you anymore. They'll think, "Ye aa gaya ek aur." The entire session has to be fun. That's why so many chota different activities. Homework number 3. Tell them a sign of genius is. Now this is a little difficult one, but give it because some in the class will be ready for this. A sign of genius is to say yes to everything which is right and no to everything which is wrong. Tell them, this is a little difficult to do. Those of you who want to give this a shot, give it a shot. Those of you who don't want to, it's absolutely okay. So things like, you wanted to tell a lie, but you know lying is not right. At least once in the next few days, can you say no to the temptation of telling a lie? You know you should be ready before time, and you're a little lazy. Can one of these days, you can say no to laziness and therefore get ready before time? You feel like being sarcastic with a person, and unfortunately class 9th and 10th, sarcasm is kind of peak. They love to be sarcastic and put people down. You go to one of those higher income schools, and if a sentence is said with any grammatical error, you're gone. They'll make fun of you for the next few days, multiple times every day. That is sarcasm. So tell them, this is a challenge, but can you say yes to everything which is right and no to whatever you believe is wrong at least a few times in the next few days? And we complete the session with what we call as the brain tattoos. Which means at the end of the session, we ask them, the way the body has a tattoo and it's etched forever, similarly out of the session, could you take something which is etched in your mind forever? And here, encourage all the children to write down all the brain tattoos which is discussed. Because when they write down, engagement happens, easy to remember, and they also realize, okay, there are many things. Otherwise, there may be a tendency to forget. So let's go through a session of brain tattoos right now. We have been having this session now for about 1 hour 15 minutes. So tell me, is there anything that you picked up as a brain tattoo that you would like to remember for the rest of your life?
I can add value to anything which I believe in.
Absolutely. I can add value to anything which I believe in, which proves that I am a genius. So I am not having genius yardstick as Einstein. I am not having genius yardstick as Sachin Tendulkar. So my yardsticks of genius is not those super accomplished, very well-known people. My yardstick of genius is, I am actually better than who I think I am. And there is proof. Yes.
I choose my own reality.
I choose my own reality. I'm capable, not capable. I'm good, not good. Peaceful, not peaceful. Life is beautiful, life is difficult. I choose my own reality. Yes, my dear.
A goal is good only if it can change your life in a positive manner.
A goal is very good if it can change life in a very positive manner. Fair enough. Somebody there asked, and yes. Can you be a little louder? And not?
Yes.
All of you heard? Can somebody say it louder to me?
Do what you want to do in strength, not in weakness.
Ah, yes, that's one of the favorite statements of my life. Whatever you do in life, do it with strength. Don't do anything in life out of weakness.
Never give up. Think of the alternative.
Never give up. That's a sign of genius. I will think of an alternative. We will work it out. There will be a solution. It might take time, but it will certainly come. Giving up is not an option. With self-belief, I can do wonders. Improvement. Just focus on the slightest improvement.
I will follow the golden touch.
Follow the golden touch. We grow in our own eyes when we are committed and when we improve. This is a magical combination. Commitment plus improvement. Only commitment, no improvement, you still don't grow in your eyes. Improvement but not committed, you still have that insecurity when you fall. So commitment plus improvement, extraordinary combination. Believe in myself.
One step at a time.
One step at a time.
All are genius.
All are geniuses.
Confident is the result of my improvement.
So either I can be genius or I can be a genius. Choose one of the two. Is that Neeraj? Is that Neeraj? Yeah, only your head can shine like that.
Just one of the ways to excel. You can still be a genius even for sure.
Absolutely. Right in the beginning, you have to establish that. That education is one tool for excellence in life, but there are multiple tools to excellence in life. And whatever is the tool that you choose, commitment and improvement. So you cannot say, I want to do this, but I am not committed to that. Tab nahi chalega. Then it is genius, not genius. Anybody who can add value is a genius. That hand with the right punch. Is that Aman? Yeah.
I have enough to know that I am great to stop finding reasons to let myself down.
Absolutely. I have enough around me to believe that I am great and I have to stop this thing of putting myself down. Whether a friends like me, some doesn't like me, and this is also an age where you want that particular person to like you. No, that sometimes doesn't happen. In spite of that, you are a genius. Aman, have you found that person? He just appeared for his 10th exam. My God. Yes, is that Kanchan? I will always believe in progressive realities of life. What is just an excuse? Resources. Yeah, Anthony Robbins says this multiple times. The world does not belong to people with resources. The world belongs to people who are resourceful. So resourcefulness is an attitude, and you can choose that reality. I see a few more hands, but we'll have to conclude the session now because we have to move on to something very beautiful. Now, this is how you will complete the session. At the end of the session, you will have a brain tattoo round where you ask everybody to write down what they have learned and repeat the homework to them. So there are 3 homeworks. Homework number 1, golden touch. Homework number 2, slight improvement in any aspect or multiple aspects. And homework number 3, yes to what is right and no to what is wrong. For the first time in the history of Keep Moving movement, we decided that volunteers who give quite a lot of time, quite a lot of resources, quite a lot of application, quite a lot of efforts, must be rewarded in beautiful ways. Now the reward can be in the form of a gift like a t-shirt or a pen or a pass or meal vouchers to Naivedyam, you know. But true reward will be when something inside us develops. When you meet good people, when you have exposure to great thoughts, and in the process, something about us changes for the better. Like we discussed somewhere in the program, reading about people can just expand our minds. It makes us admire. But inspiration, on the other hand, knows when we have access to those people, when we meet those people, when we can touch and feel those people. Admiration is something when you say, wow, but it may not become a part of your life. So you go to Agra, you see the Taj, and you might say, wow, but I don't think you have a desire to make something like that. Because even if you discuss with your wife, तेरे लिए ऐसा बनाऊं क्या? She will have 2 objections. One, it was created after the wife died. And 2, इसकी सफाई कौन करेगा? Both are very practical points. बाई कहाँ से लाऊंगा इसमें? बना तो दोगे, तुम तो ऑफिस चले जाओगे. So you admire the Taj, you can enjoy it for 2-3 hours, but then you want to come back to your 1 BHK, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, whatever it is. Now that is admiration. बहुत बढ़िया है, लेकिन दूर से, मेरे को नहीं चाहिए. Inspiration is, that word is so beautiful, in spirit. That's how the word comes, inspiration. When somebody becomes a part of you forever, not only in thoughts, not only in feelings, but actually in spirit, then something inside you develops very beautifully. So when we wanted to start KMM this year, we were thinking about who can be that one person who can come, whose presence can touch us. You know, there is something incredibly powerful about this person whom we are fortunate to have with us today. We come across many people who can be super ambitious and super successful. But you find humility is missing. And then you meet some people who are very humble, but who are not super ambitious. So while they are very humble, their character touches us. But we may not like to be with them. While we feel people who are super successful, very ambitious, at the same time we may not want to be like them because something looks incomplete in both these lives. Very rarely do you meet somebody who is a combination of both of these two. Ambitious, where the ambitions are not limited to a personal life, nor is it limited to the business or the organization we are responsible for, but ambition about the city, ambition about the state, ambition about country, ambition about creating a huge impact. At the same time, extremely grounded and extremely humble. So today we are fortunate to have a A person who is a rare combination of these two qualities. An exceptional human being, leader par excellence. A person who can make everybody comfortable in less than 1 minute. At the same time, person who's super driven and wants to live a very, very meaningful life. Please welcome onto the stage a very dear friend, Ganesh Rajan.
It has been my privilege in the last 2 years or so to know Naren and Bharti very closely, because the quality of work that they do with one of the institutions called Social Venture Partners that I'm part of has been absolutely inspirational. But thank you for inviting me today, because I think this whole concept of the brain tattoo is tattooed in my head. And the first brain tattoo I got, which is actually the first comment that somebody made, was this whole concept of adding value. And Naren asked me to speak for 15 minutes, which I'm normally a trainer and not a speaker, but I will try and give you some instances. I was also asked to talk about my life, which is, I mean, when I tell you the story of my life, you will say, "Bas kya, yahi kya, I can also become that." So, I mean, all the hype you get about what Naren said is not true at all. But I will try and accomplish those things. But let me start by opening it up and saying that, look, when you talk about adding value, let me give you one example. When I was 33 years old, I became the CEO of this company called Aptech. Aptech was this computer training company. And I was privileged, I think it was 1993, 2 years after I became CEO of Aptech, to meet a person called Devang Mehta. I know many of you have heard of Devang Mehta. Devang Mehta is, I mean, when I was 35, he was probably the same age, 35. And he had just taken on the responsibility of building an institution called NASSCOM. NASSCOM is the National Association of Software Companies. 1994, we were a little less than $200 million association. And Devang was a young man who was told, make it happen for India, guys. Because if you remember in the 90s, when you talked about India, people remembered the sadhu and the rope trick and everything else. But nobody associated India with leadership. And Devang was one person who said that, look, at least in one industry, let's make leadership happen. I mean, today, as many of you may know, India has 55% market share in the software outsourcing business, which is absolutely amazing, because there's no other country in no industry which has achieved that kind of growth in 25, 26 years. It's absolutely amazing. But the point I'm making is, how does this value get added? I'll give you one example and then I'll move to a more general idea. Devang used to have this wonderful story, and I used to go around the world with Devang Mehta, just talking about the power of Indian youth, the power of the Indian IT professional, etc., etc. And I still remember, and this story I'll never forget, we were talking in Dubai one day to a group of Arab sheikhs and very senior leaders. And Devang asked the question saying that, look, you all heard of the Indian IT software industry. Do you know to which country the first exports ever happened? Do you know? Any answer? America? No? The logical answer to this is Devang, whichever country he went, he would say that country. Keep him happy. So he said, of course it was Dubai. So people said, oh my God, the first software thing happened in Dubai. He said, yes, and let me give you an example of how it happened. So he gave the story of this very rich Arab sheikh in Dubai, in the desert. And very rich, what is the richness of an Arab sheikh measured in? Don't tell me dirhams. What does he own? Camels, absolutely. Oil is just an input. Ultimately, what they really like is not having 4 wives, I mean, that is a byproduct, but having as many camels as possible. So Devang used to say that, look, there was this very rich Arab sheikh who one day dies, and then all the Bedouins in the desert, they cluster around and say, okay, we have to distribute his wealth amongst his children. He has 3 sons, the sheikh, and then they round up the camels and they find he has 17 camels. And then they say, now how do we distribute? Then somebody says, no, he told me 2 years back that he's made a will. So they find the will of the Arab sheikh. And the will says, when I die, half my camels will go to the first son. 1/3 of my camels will go to the second son. And 1/9 of my camels will go to the third son. Sounds easy. I mean, even if you're from Dubai, that much math is possible. So they take 17 and they say half, nahi ho sakta. 1/3, impossible. 1/9, not possible. And one thing you do not do if you're from the Middle East, you don't cut camels and say, I will give 1.5. It's not allowed. So he said, now what do we do? So then they say, no, we've heard of this company called Tata Consultancy Services. And they have this office in Jangli Maharaj Road in Pune. Let us ask them to help us. And this is before email and WhatsApp and everything else. So what they do is they send a fax to TCS in Pune. And they get a fax back after 1 day saying, don't worry, we will send a bright young software engineer called Arun Patil and he will come and solve the problem. So they're all waiting there. After 3 days, they find one software engineer who's coming along the desert riding his camel. And Mr. Patil comes and says, okay, I've come from Tata Consultancy Services. Can you tell me what your problem is? They tell him there's a very complex mathematical problem. He says, that is a problem? Just keep my camel. Suddenly 17 camels become 18 camels. The first son gets half, which is 9 camels. The second son gets a third, which is 6 camels. The third son gets 1/9, which is 2 camels. 9 plus 6, 15 plus 2, 17. They say, we have 1 camel left. And Patil says, that is my camel. And he goes back. Why am I telling you this stupid story on a Sunday morning? Because adding value is in the mind. If we believe we will add value, and I 100% agree with everything that Naren just said, if we have the self-belief that we can add value, we do not need the power of resources, the power of title, the power of heredity. My father, my grandfather was this great man and hence I will be a great man. Nothing like that. Each one of us in this room can add value and become great. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, the $150 billion US dollar industry that today is called IT and business services from India was built by people like you and me with intelligence, with innovation, with an idea saying we can add value. And we don't need oil fields and we don't need anything to do that. And that's the point. Let me give you my own story. I grew up in one of the most significant states in India. It's called Bihar. Everybody laughs about it. I grew up in this little city called Ranchi, which till 15 years back I used to say Ranchi. People say, "Ye kya hota hai?" Then Mahendra Singh Dhoni happened and today everybody knows what Ranchi is. By the way, our commissioner, who is my hero in this city, Kunal Kumar, is also from Ranchi. So we have a bunch of Ranchiites trying to change Pune, which will not be good news, but that's a different story. And where I grew up was actually not even in Ranchi. It was a little village called Tatisilva. You can Google it, you'll find it's true. And Tatisilva was about 10 kilometers outside Ranchi. Why was I growing up there? Because my father, who actually grew up as a very poor boy in Tamil Nadu, moved to Ranchi to set up a chemicals factory along with two friends of his, and he was running the factory. And it was a very small factory. My father has always been my inspiration, and I won't get there because I can talk for 3 hours about my father. But he was one person who literally added value in multiple dimensions: cultural dimensions, religious dimensions, quality of work, social service, etc., etc. But we were growing up there, and the nearest school was about 6 kilometers away. We didn't have chauffeur-driven cars in those days. So my sister and I would bicycle every morning to the school and come back. And I still remember when we used to come back home at 2:30 in the afternoon, the first thing we did was throw our school bags, and my father was running this little Seva Kendra for the Ramakrishna Mission, which used to bring all the village kids together. I mean, very similar to what Naren does and what you are going to do. And we, for 2 hours every afternoon, from Monday to Sunday, no holidays, we'll sing songs, okay, we will talk, and we will hopefully add value to each other. And this is the way I grew up in my life. At that point of time, my best friend was the son of my father's, one of the security guards. And his name was Fantush. His name is really Fantush. People think I joke when I talk about it. And Fantush was my best friend. So almost for 10 years, all we did was run around the villages together, etc. That's how I grew up. And in those days, I used to get very inspired, and all of us have inspirational stories. Most of you would have read a story called Jack and the Beanstalk, right? I mean, this boy Jack suddenly looks outside his window and he sees a big beanstalk growing, and then he climbs up the beanstalk, etc., etc. And I always used to believe that even growing up in Tatisilva in Ranchi with a friend called Fantush, there must be something I can achieve in my life. It was going to be very easy for me otherwise just to stay there. And when I got a chance after doing my engineering in BIT Mesra in Ranchi, and somebody said that, look, here's a chance for you to go to study in Bombay. I said, let me do that. Everything was opportunity. Started working in Nasik in a company called Crompton Graves. And I think if there's one thing I've learned during those times, including the chance opportunity to meet people like Devang Mehta, is that as you move along in life, you have to look for opportunities everywhere. This chance to run this company called Aptech happened when I was, as I said, 33 years old. I was sitting in Delhi. I was working in this company, NIIT. And I get a call on a Sunday morning, very similar to this, 8:30 in the morning. Some headhunter saying that, look, we are looking for a managing director for this company, Aptech. Would you like to be considered? I said, no, I'm not even ready. I'm only 33 years old. I'll give you the phone number of my boss, because I was hoping he would take my boss away so that I could have a better life. but he said, no, we want to talk to you. I said, if some fool wants to make me managing director at the age of 33, why should I object? And sure enough, I went and met Mr. Atul Nishad, who was the guy who had set it up. And we had started talking, and he said, look, you think you can do it, you seem to have the confidence, you speak well. I said, great, if that is what is required to be managing director, I'm on. So I moved to Bombay. And I still remember in those days, the computer training was a very small industry. I mean, today, of course, every street corner you will see computer training. But I remember going to that company, and there were about 200 people employed in Aptech. We were running 7 training centers. 4 of them were in Bombay, so it was really a Mumbai-centric kind of shop. And in those days, and even today, being a computer trainer was not aspirational. The software industry was just starting. There was TCS and Infosys, etc. And everybody, after about 6 months of maybe teaching something, would suddenly want to move on and do something else. And when we calculated what is called attrition, which is the number of people leaving, we found that the attrition in the company was close to 170%. Which means that if you started the year with 200 people, you probably lost 240 people during the year. And that's the level of... So we said, oh my God, how do we solve this problem? So I still remember we got these 200 people together and said, guys, what do you want to become? And we said, look, we are now 7 training centers. So we built this big vision for ourselves saying, by the year 2000, turn of the century, we should be at least 100 training centers. We should be at least one country outside India so that we also believe that we are doing, kind of exports of foreign work. So we said, great. When I left Aptech in 2001, we were 1,200 training centers in 42 countries. And how did this happen? It happened not because I sat and saying, I'm the managing director, we should do it. Because if I had said that, we would have been 100 training centers in one country. But it is purely the power of energy of young people. And I was telling Prashant, who was kind enough to pick me up from home and drag me here, that is one thing I've learned. You just create an opportunity, like all of you will do, I'm sure, next week onwards in the classes you're going to teach. You open up the windows of opportunity for people. And believe me, they will perform, they will deliver, they will add value much better than you can imagine, because the power of young people to dream big dreams is much more today than maybe when you were. So the first message I'd like to give you is, don't limit your own class by the power of your imagination. Just open up the windows, open up the doors, and let them imagine. Same thing happened in Zensar. When I came here in 2001, Zensar was a really, really small company. We had 400 people. This was just post what is called the economic slowdown. This was 6 months before Osama bin Laden was going to change the world. We didn't know that. And I still remember I was talking to my board and said, look, why have you hired me to run a 400 people, chota company, 40 crores of revenue? And they said, look, you have 2 choices. Either you understand what the company is doing, recommend to us that we shut it down. We are willing to shut it down. And I said, what happens to my job? But I didn't ask them that. Or tell us what you want to do. Again, we did the same thing. We formed this vision community. I still remember we had this very, very bright young woman who had just joined from the defense labs. Her previous boss was Abdul Kalam, and then she comes here and I become her boss. And I told her, her name is Pramila, she's today the executive vice president and location head of Zensar in Pune. I told Pramila, look, you get a bunch of guys together and you create what you want this company to become. And even then, we were a small company, as I said, 400 people. They came up with some specific things. They said, look, we are a proud company. We only want to work with large Fortune 500 corporations. We actually made a list. Said, look, which are the 10 companies we want to be the supplier partners? Cisco, we said Marks and Spencer, Credit Suisse, etc. Again, at the end of 5-6 years, We were 90% of our business was coming from Fortune 500. Fortunately, we didn't set any revenue goals because for a 40 crore company, if you had said, what do you want to become in 15 years, we'd have probably said maybe 10 times, 400 crores, 800 crores, 1,000 crores. I mean, when I left Zensar in end of April, we were all of 3,000 crores, 8,000 people, and there's no limits for that. So I'm giving you corporate examples because the power of youth, and I have understood one mantra throughout my life. And I'll explain this to you and then I'll kind of come to the end of what I'm saying. That when you add value, I've already said that, look, you give some ideas and get out of the way. The second thing I learned, and this is my mantra, in fact, my new company is called 5F World. And a lot of people say, what the heck is 5F? 5F is the mantra I learned in Aptic, which I'm learning in Zensar, which I've learned everywhere on this planet. And the 5Fs are very simple. The first F is fast. Naren rightly said that. You have to keep improvising, you have to keep making those small changes to make sure that you are faster than the next person. The second is focus. Unfortunately, in this country today, there is so much of opportunities for distraction, especially for young people, that they've stopped reading. They've stopped thinking about positive things about the future. All we see is 9 o'clock, we see Arnab Goswami on Times Now, cursing everybody on the planet, and we say, oh, everything must be bad in this country. But we don't go around and visit life school and meet people like Narendra and say that, look, there are good things possible. So that is the focus on what you really want to achieve in your life and hopefully what you want other people to achieve so that you can make some effort at training or educating them. The third F, which I'm very fond of, is flexible. Now, sometimes, especially when we have these dogmatic views on life, we decide too early in life कि मुझे बस यही करना है और कुछ नहीं करना. So even the opportunities that life throws at you occasionally, you have the windows of your mind are not open, so you're not able to absorb those opportunities. I mean, if you look at my own career, started off in manufacturing, set up my startup when I was 25 years old, sold off that startup, joined an IIT, then Aptech 10 years, 15 years Zensar, and now we're doing this completely new startup which is just investing in young people, their imagination, their companies, etc. So I've been through maybe 7 career changes by just saying that, look, what is my strength? My strength is enabling people to think fast, be focused, be flexible in terms of opportunity, and most important, our last 2 F's, friendly and fun. For me, that is the most important, because if people stop having fun, as Naren rightly said, if people don't smile all the time, what are we doing? Are we making the planet a better place by being stressful, by being tough all the time? Or are we being, as you read, the golden touch, are we being friendly to people, making them smile, making them happy, even if it's for a few minutes? Today what I do, which I think Naren would have told some of you, apart from building this business called 5F World, we run this entity called Social Venture Partners. Social Venture Partners is a group of 40 people, okay, including Naren, Bharti, me, my wife, and about 20 other partners, including people like Meher Padamji and Kumar Gera, and many of the big names in the city. So we really have an integrated body of people who say we will do good work for society. So Naren himself, for instance, has adopted this entity called Jagruti Sanstha. And Jagruti builds young women, okay, who do not have a future, maybe in the slum dwellers or people who got married, came back from their husbands, and gives them the opportunity to become nursing assistants. When we first discovered Jagruti and their little center behind Senapati Papat Road, they were just one small center. Today, thanks to the outstanding work done by Naren, Bharati, and quite a few of us, there are multiple centers. Yesterday, when Prime Minister was here in Pune, one of the main things he launched was what we call the Pune Lighthouse Program. And what we were showing him was actually the Jagruti Sansthan and saying how through new technology, we will enable Jagruti Sansthan to scale to maybe not 50 people per year, but maybe 10,000 people per year. So that is the scale that is possible. I also, of course, run this entity called NASSCOM Foundation, which implements the Prime Minister's National Digital Literacy Mission. The goal there is that at least one member of every family in the country. Don't forget there are, as Prime Minister keeps saying, 125 crore people, which means that we have at an average 220 million or 22 crore families in this country. And the goal is that within the next 5 years, at least one member of every family should be digitally literate. Doesn't mean using computers. It probably means the ability to give a missed call. Okay. So enough use of phones to just communicate. If you're a farmer's son, check on your phone where the seeds are available cheaper. If you're a fisherman's son, do you know how to check that, when the high tide is and your father shouldn't go out? That kind of enabling digital India to happen through inclusive. So these are some of the things we're doing. So why am I telling you all this? That if I look at my own life, and I say, when I was sitting in Tata Silvai at the age of 16, finishing my 10th, which is what most of your students are, if somebody had said, look, what is your great ambition for life? I would not even have known what to say. I really had no ambition. My ambition really started when I got into engineering and said, maybe I should build a career for myself outside Bihar, forget about anything else. But in my wildest dreams, I would not have imagined that I could be where I am today. And there's nothing to do with pride or influence. It's just to say, look, today we are in a position of influence where we can change, hopefully, the face of the city through the Pune Smart City program, which we are trying to do. We can change the face of the country through NASSCOM Foundation and National Digital Literacy. We hope to change the face of the world because what I do on the global board of social venture partners is saying how can we create paradigms of change. It could emanate from Jagruti Foundation and Nursing Assistants, which I presented in Seattle 2 weeks back and talked about Narendra's work. Or it could be something that is great happening in the inner schools of Harlem in America, which we can bring here and say, how do we transform 440 municipal schools in the city of Pune? So all these are what we call fungible or transportable models. But how do we, as simple human beings, come up with ideas that can make great change happen? So I think that is really, to my mind, what value addition is. To complete my own story, I went back 2 months back because I had forgotten about my friend Fantush. He was my school friend, right? I should have kept in touch with him. Shame on me that throughout building my career for the last 35 years, I had forgotten Fantush. And my wife told me, saying that, look, the day you finish or hand over your Zensa responsibility, which was 30th of April, she said, next morning, let's go to Tata Silvai and find Fantush. So we went on a mission. Okay, we went there and we went to the village, which I used to wander around. Nothing has changed, unfortunately. 35 years, it's still as backward as it always was. That's the real India, not what you see in Pune. And we went around asking people, ki ye Fantush hai kya? So nobody knew Fantush. Well, obviously Fantush was not his real name. Then we went back to the factory and he said, oh, wo security guard, uska beta, uska naam to, some funny, Jamna Prasad Thakur. I said, wow, I never knew my friend Fantush had such a fancy name. Then we went looking for Jamna Prasad Thakur and we actually found the guy. Okay, we found him and I have these wonderful photographs on Facebook of Fantush and me. And now Fantush, of course, wants to come and live with me in Pune, so I have to figure out what to do with him. And I then told people that, look, Fantush, if you look at how his life has not changed, he literally has moved maybe 2 steps from being what he was. Okay, he still eked out an existence. But the reality, ladies and gentlemen, in this country is there are so many, people talk about 300 million people below the poverty line. Anytime you say 300 million, your mind fogs. You don't even know how many zeros there are in 300 million. But if you think of Fantush plus another maybe 30 crore people in this country who do not see a better opportunity because nobody told them there is a better opportunity. They don't have the beanstalk that I had because of education and parents, etc., etc. I think that's what it is. So I'd just like to conclude by saying adding value has many dimensions. We can discuss for the next 4 days and each one of us will find our method of adding value. But never give up. The ability to say that, look, I can make change happen. In the city, in the country, in the world, and in my own little family, I think that's what will make it. Let me end with a little story from my favorite philosopher. There's a gentleman called Joel Barker, who is my guru on the whole concept of vision communities and vision. There's this wonderful video. It's a 30-minute video that I would encourage any of you to watch. You can download it from YouTube. It's called The Power of Vision. It ends with Joel Barker, the philosopher, walking down a beach in San Francisco, in America. And early morning, when he's walking on the beach, it's still very hazy because the dawn is just coming. He sees almost like an athlete, and the athlete seems to be dancing. He's actually like going like this, and he's doing this. Joel Barker comes close to him, and he realizes he's not a dancer. He's picking up the starfish. You've seen starfish in the sand, and throwing it in the ocean. And Joel says, young man, what are you doing early in the morning? He says, sir, these starfish will die if they're on the sand. I'm picking them up and throwing them back into the ocean so that they can live. And Joel Barker asks him, young man, have you seen this beach? There are thousands and tens of thousands of starfish. how can you possibly make a difference? And the young man says, excuse me, sir, picks up another starfish, throws it into the ocean, and he says, I made a difference to that one. And Joel Barker, philosopher, the poet, goes back and thinks and says, if each one of us can say, I'm adding value, I'm making a difference to one person every week or every month or every year in my life, we will make the world a better place. So thank you very much and all the best.
We have about 4-5 minutes for any questions in case you have. Anything that you would like to ask Ganesh? Any questions, anybody? Yes, at the last row.
How can we become part of your national digital literacy program as we all are in?
No, that's a great point you're asking. In fact, just to give you a sense, and I didn't mention that, we have set up a foundation in Pune called Pune City Connect. Pune City Connect is, the CEO of that is a very bright young woman called Ruchi Mathur. Ruchi is an IIM Ahmedabad MBA, 20 years experience, who has now given up her, completely dedicated to this cause. And the 4 things we are running is National Digital Literacy Mission. The second is the what I just mentioned, the Pune City Lighthouse Program, which was inaugurated by Prime Minister yesterday. The third is transformation of the 400 municipal schools, which is actually managed by us along with Thermax and Forbes Marshall. And the fourth is Swachh, which is just bringing the public toilets program to Pune. So all these are 4 of our initiatives. So you just feel free to, you can actually Google Pune City Connect and you can write to me. You can get my email from Naren, or you can, my email is very simple, it's ganeshen@5fworld.com. 5 is numeral 5, fworld.com. So write to me and I'll connect you to them. They're all very busy, they're trying to change the lives of Pune, so you may get a little bit of delay, but feel free. So I'm saying, we are love to look for individual social responsibility, which is what you're talking about. How can you get involved in any of these 4 missions, or indeed any of the 14 projects of Pune Smart City? Unfortunately, any good initiative in the city first gets mired by politics. Okay? And I'm not questioning everything you read in Times of India, but at the end of the day, we are not concerned with the municipal corporation elections, who becomes the next mayor. It doesn't concern us. What concerns us is what I said earlier. Can I make a difference through digital literacy to 10 families in Pune? Can I take up one school and transform it? Can I, as Naren and what you are all doing, spread out through your movement into multiple schools? So I think that if you're looking for that, all of us are available. And if you cannot reach me, just tell Naren. He knows how to reach me and pull me out, whether it is at 7 in the morning on a Sunday or whenever. So we're all there for you.
Is that Prashant?
Yes.
Okay. Gita?
As you said that after 2 every day you used to come and be with the children. You and Santosh were together. What was the difference that you took you to this height? As you were living same life, might be the difference was in parents. But what other thing that was in you that made you to this level and not the Santosh?
The question she's asking is that if Fantush and I were in the same school or in the same Seva Kendra as we called it, and he just kind of stayed in the same place and I decided to change my life, what was the reason? I think we all should continue to look for role models in our lives. I mentioned my father, and I'll give you one small story, and maybe we'll go 2 minutes over, but I'm sure Naren will excuse me. I still remember, one day, and yesterday I was with Prime Minister Modi, but the same thing, I think it was 1964 or 65 or something like that. And Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was visiting Ranchi at that point of time. She was the Prime Minister. And they asked 5 children from our Seva Kendra to stand in front of the Prime Minister and sing songs. We sang 2 patriotic songs, there were 5 of us. And we really liked it because we were literally standing next to her, and then she kind of was very happy. And obviously when you're very young, you have heroes. Indira Gandhi was a hero for many of us. May not be today, but then it was. And I remember then we went back and my father said that, look, we must get the Prime Minister to visit our little Seva Kendra. So all his friends laughed at him and said, what are you talking about? Prime Minister Indira Gandhi will come and visit your 40 village kids Seva Kendra. He said, no, happy. Then he discovered that in fact we were on this, what is called the Purulia Road, which goes from Ranchi to further east. And we knew that the Prime Minister's cavalcade of 40 cars would pass that road next morning when she was going off. So my father said, you 5 boys who sang to the Prime Minister yesterday, wear the same thing. They had these big blue caps, yellow shirt and khaki half pant. So, and he said, you stand on the road exactly the way you stood next to the Prime Minister. We said, okay. And my mother was saying, what are you trying to do? Let him study. He has exams tomorrow. No, let him study. And sure enough, after some time, we saw this first car pass, how the Prime Minister cavalcades moving, ambulance, yay, whoa, da da da, all this happening. And on the 40th car then passed by, and my mother was also standing there. My mother said, Bas, ho gaya, now let's go, let him go and study. I said, wait. And we were like waiting. 2 minutes later, one car comes back, this glass tinted ambassador. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi gets out of it and said, aren't you the same children who sang yesterday? And my father said, yes, ma'am. Can you please spend 2 minutes and visit our Seva camp? She said, sure. She spent 15 minutes with us. She even drank the milk that we used to drink from these little tin cups. And for us, my God, such things are possible. My father said, if you have conviction, good things will happen. This is like Shah Rukh Khan. This is like Shah Rukh Khan says in that funny movie that, if you want to do something, the whole universe will conspire and make it happen for you. That's where, to answer your question, this is where I live. I said, look, if you are committed, today we have a goal in Social Venture Partners that we want 100 million Indians to get a better livelihood because of this. We have no clue on how we will do it. I remember we got Naren into a workshop with us, with McKinsey, about 3 months back. We are meeting in Bangalore next week to discuss kaisa karna hai. But we say, if we want to make it happen, maybe we won't do 100 million, maybe we'll do 80 million. But who knows, maybe we'll do 120 million. As Naren rightly said, if you don't have the ambition, and the ambition is not to make more money, but if you don't have a lofty ambition to do good for a large section of people, what's the point in living? I learned this from my father. Hopefully we are still experimenting as we go along. And as I said, apart from those 300 million, if I can also change the life of my friend Fantush, the world will be a better place. That's the way I see my life.
Hi. Firstly, I want to congratulate you on all the success you achieved. But my question is, see, you had aims in your life, but there was some point where you thought it might not work, it might fail. What kept you moving on? There was a thing in your mind that what was that?
This is a very good question. She's saying that, look, if you have aims in your life, there must have been points in your life when you failed to achieve something. So what kept you going on? This is one thing that is different from a young entrepreneur in Silicon Valley, America. And today, of course, everybody and his brother is setting up a startup. Okay, every day I hear of some 4 new startups coming up in the city of Pune itself. One thing we learn in Silicon Valley is, if you must fail, fail fast. Don't get stuck with this thing of, oh my God, this was my idea, isko kisi tarah se kheech ke successful karna hai. Sometimes you realize that, look, it seemed like a good idea, it didn't work. I still remember when in Zensar in 2004, we had this fantastic idea of saying that we will create this magic software which will eliminate programming altogether, which means that we will automate the entire process of system generation, some of your IT guys. And we tried it. It worked very well for a couple of cases. After some time, we realized that it was too complicated to make it work in countries like Japan. So although we had opened an office in Japan just to focus on this, what we call solution blueprinting, we could either have just stuck with it. We said, "Okay, it's not working in Japan, shut it off." So to answer your question, you will always find that some phenomenal idea you came up with is not really meeting your expectations. Choosing to say, what should I now invest in and make it successful? What should I very quickly divest and move on to the next thing is important. And I learned this really from my first MD, a gentleman called KK Noria, who was in Compton Green's managing director. And we were all young people, all in our early 20s when we started our first job. And Mr. Noria used to, and this was Nasik, so he used to come every week because he was the managing director. And we would all be worried saying, oh, last week production itna nahi hua, sales itna nahi hua, etc. We'll all be making our excuses. But when Mr. Noria asks us, why did you fail in this? We have 10 reasons why we failed. Mr. Noria would come and say that, look, there are 40 of you in this room. If any of you want to share a really great success you've seen in the last 2 weeks, tell me. Your failures, I know, let's not discuss. But your successes are worth discussing. So somebody will say, sir, I made this thing happen for the security in this organization. And we would celebrate that. Another thing I learned, that look, if you fail by all means, everybody will fail. But if you succeed, celebrate that success, replicate that success, make more people understand it. And I think what I heard this morning is exactly that. Naren has been a very successful trainer, life coach, inspirer. If he can create maybe even 300 of you, and who knows, 30,000 people in this world, would have made a great difference. So I think the answer to your question is, never be afraid of failure. Move on. Keep moving, exactly what you guys are doing, and you will make the world a better place.
Anybody less than 25 years old with a question?
They're all less than 25 years.
Okay, there in the last. That's the last question for the morning.
If you're less than 25 years, you have to have a very big voice also.
So when was the point in your life when you consider that you played a genius?
Played a?
How, when and why? Did you play the genius for yourself?
Play the genius.
Is that Shubham?
Yes.
There's this old cliche which says that genius is 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration. So don't wait for that flash of genius to come to you. Okay? As I think Naren rightly said, there is a genius in all of us. The good capability lies in understanding when a flash of inspiration is something you can take to success and when it's not going to work. Okay, which is something that we experience, every time we meet every month in social venture partners. There'll always be something we tried. It's not really taking off. I remember one of the first experiments we did was with an outstanding institution which wanted to do work for the visually challenged, but it didn't take off because of various reasons. But Jagruti Sanstha, as I mentioned, is a flash of genius, and the genius is being converted not by the inspiration of saying let's help Jaya Kale who runs that institution, but the perspiration that Naren and Bharti and quite a few other people are putting in is what is converting the genius to reality. So I think there will always be flashes of genius that come to you. Make sure you have the commitment, to use another word that Naren used, to see it through to its logical conclusion and make it successful. Ultimately, you will feel good about yourself if you can look back after maybe 15 years with this movement and point out saying, look, this one I changed his life. This was that golden touch that I did. But create those moments for yourself, enjoy them, look at the reasons for success, enable them to replicate, and as I said earlier, we will make the world a better place. Thank you very much for listening to me. I'm very happy to answer you.